Ensconced within the bowels of the internet's most twisted passages, there exists a dark realm known as IRC, Internet Relay Chat. Millions of hidden societies exist in this place, unable to be tracked by any police agency. Some of the most wretched and perverse creatures to ever inhabit the internet fester in these places. Some deal in a trade of pornography too horrifying to be viewed by normal humans. Others sell women and even children as commodities. In these places, assassinations are planned, recipes for dangerous new drugs traded between black market privateers. Lives are ruined. Fortunes made. From high intellect spent by darkness, to the cages of men who are little more than unthinking beasts, these secret places house the most dangerous, the most perverse and the greatest evils of the internet. Some, however, just have morons in them. The following are records of one such place, and the imbeciles that inhabit it. This is Adventures in IRC.
Reenact Reliant vs. Enterprise. Replace Comment Augment crew with sentient otters from South Park.
Giant robotic Abraham Lincoln fights a swarm of tiny Borg ships above the capital of Kronos.
Evil ghost zombie Einstein attempts to raise a ghost army equipped with lasers.
Picard swatting Dominion ships with a stick like a fly swatter.
Penis helicopters.
I bet Janeway's chair smells of farts. When I level up in Star Trek Online, the Klingon congratulating me sounds really annoyed and sarcastic. All they need to do is replace Captain with faggot, and it'd sound like I was being congratulated over Xbox Live. When Voyager was under attack the last episode, and that episode where the ship was split into two versions, the version that got fucked up had something like 50 people injured from exploding consoles. I'm not even kidding about that. They actually reported that as a damage report. That many from plasma burns as a result of exploding consoles.
They know.
This episode, a Voyager crewman advises this little girl to step away from the console so he can try an emergency method of taking off in their shuttle. Presses button, console explodes, shuttle goes up. Federation technology revolves completely around consoles and their ability to explode.
Surprised they aren't all neurotic about using a single console if they're so prone to explosions.
I'd use a stick at all times. In this episode where Ben gets taken off the manhunt for the guy who betrayed them to the Maquis, he's in the holodeck hitting a punching bag. You know, because he's mad. Problem is, they have never shown him doing anything of the sort.
That's like alt-tabbing your porn away. He just had to change the girl and location into a punching bag when someone entered.
He was actually punching a baby.
I'd make hollow dolls of all sorts of girls I knew, and hollow bushes to hide behind.
I'd make them have holo fights to the death.
You know, personal time in the holodeck, by law, is that person's concern and no one else's. So I wonder what they think if they found out someone's holodeck time had been used for a program where he whips babies against tables.
The baby flail.
And kicks them like footballs for points. And when he gets enough, he wins a fuck with the female crew.
Just a ton of newborns tied to a stick by their umbilical cords.
I'd make a holodeck program which was just an old wooden shack, sitting out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by wheat fields, near dusk, and in the front yard there is a wood chipper, with a glass crate full of babies open. In my rocking chair by my side, a lever and a glass of lemonade.
God bless the holodeck.
The people using it on the show weren't creative at all. A whole series of baby abuse themed holo programs I invite uncomfortable friends to. Sail on a pirate adventure on a boat made of babies. Reenact the Battle of Wolf 359 and fire baby torpedoes.
After a while it'd just be hilarious. The morbidity of it would edge away and they'd start laughing at the weird things you do with children.
Starfleet would be concerned when they found out there was a whole ship full of people abusing babies. Worf goes through a ceremony to make them honorary brothers, the boy and he.
Jesus.
I bet they abandon him the second they hit a space station and they never bring it up again. Wiki? The fate of Jeremy Astor was never revealed. Say, Worf, where's that second brother of yours? Second brother? What the fuck are Oh, he died. Shot himself.
Nice.
And then ate his own body.
Worf's son is a faggot. Worf has to live with the shame of his son's faggotry.
As we have discussed prior, all of their children are horrible.
Worf's son is the worst. I hate them more than I hate Wesley.
I remember Worf's kid being a little jerk. But Wesley. Fuck.
And I hate myself some Wesley.
Least Worf's kid didn't have as much airtime. You barely knew he was on the ship, like they stuffed him in some locker in between episodes.
Picard with his fake son, Riker with his horrible twin spawn, Troy with her alien baby that was also the father, Beverly with her shit stack, Worf with his pussy of a boy that literally tried to come back in time to kill himself for being a failure, Data's exploding daughter. Oh, and Tasha Yar, who has a child so shitty she had to be spawned from an alternate reality and time travel.
Kids are so messed up in that series. It's a wonder any of them can become adults. One of the episodes, they're still pulling pieces of Data's daughter out of the bulkheads. And we find out Data didn't have the expertise to make two eyes, so one of them was a googly eye. Or every time she was on screen, she had a different object replacing one of her eyes.
A marble with a magic marker eye.
A ball from an old mouse. A light bulb. In the cantina, she rams an olive into her socket when she hopes nobody is looking.
A gumball.
She doesn't use her hands. She smashes her head against a table.
A 100th scale working replica of her face, lodged in the socket, smiling back at you.
And it too is missing an eye.
Yep.
We need to fund this.
Riker's spare artificial testicle.
Ew.
Well, he did it on her.
He fucks everything.
Also, she rapes him. That's when we discover Data knows nothing about genitalia. At one point someone uses her head like a Pez dispenser.
And inside are crystalline entity fragments. Sweet and delicious. Oh no. You know what Dark Spawn really remind me of? Putties from those Power Ranger shows. The things that they beat up all the time for fun.
I had forgotten putties.
They show them flipping their arms all over the place, and just get the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the Rangers would always be so concerned, instead of just sending a herd of house cats after them. Which would have been more cost and time effective.
They were made of clay. They could have killed them with water.
I had to fight a Desire Demon as a random enemy in some brawl with blood mages. I was picking up the loot from the corpses and saw a KO'd Desire Demon and thought, I bet it's still warm. This little elf girl companion is cute. I'm going to fuck her. For the crime of being an elf mainly, the rest just encouragement. I like abusing the game's logic. Some evil knights attack a mage that turns into a demon and summons more demons, and they fight one another. You're supposed to leap in and fight both.
Her.
But I tell my AA companions to hold ground and then walk away.
Nice.
And let them kill one another. I can almost feel the game getting mad about it. Although it's getting back by having the warrior girl I hate but have to use scream in my ear every 2 seconds. There's a bug in Dragon Age 2, where if you fuck Isabella and she leaves, your character slowly begins to attack at a snail's pace, until the base value leaves you unable to fight. People refer to it as the STD she leaves you with.
That is fucking insane. How the fuck can a bug that bad exist?
She has a buff, if you make her happy, that makes you attack faster. So when she leaves the party, it mistakenly keeps removing it over and over.
That's not much better. Would think they'd have caught that.
Nope. Funny thing is, they released a patch that does nothing.
I'd like the last IS. The heaviest Soviet one. A lot more if it didn't have the retarded machine gun on a stick.
Never noticed that. That is stupid looking.
Soviets were retarded. That they expected someone to stand on that and shoot it is so fucking dumb.
Although I imagine once they add in suicide bombers, it'll be helpful. Knowing their dislike of their own soldiers, not too much.
Yup.
They wanted them to die. It's efficient. Kill 2 enemy. Kill 1 soldier. It's a good trade.
I imagine the tank crew totally ignored it and let conscripts play with it.
I bet enemy soldiers would run up there on foot and use it to fire at Soviets before jumping off giggling. I like to imagine the Lauan as a giant fat man on a precariously assembled wooden cart with bending wheels that moves by constantly farting.
That's accurate.
And attacks by screaming obscenities at you as he wastes fistfuls of Monopoly money. In a thread making fun of Overlord exaggerating polls to Wargaming's favor, I made a post that apparently got +7. It's been long known that Wargaming doesn't understand mathematics, including statistics. If they ran a hospital and 50% of their patients died, and another 40% were rendered completely paralyzed for life, and the remaining 10% suing the hospital, They describe it as 90% of patients voiced no concerns at all. People don't want to share my sense of humor in League of Legends.
What are you saying?
The enemy team was arguing in all chat about trying to get us to report their teammates for being toxic or being AFK when they weren't. So I suggested I report one of them, but at random for something completely unrelated.
Ah. Yeah, I can see them taking that seriously.
And pick their enemy Rise, and told him I would report him for making me contemplate the separation of my identity from the life I'd chosen, leading me to an existential crisis. One of them responded, "Fuck you, noob!"
Well, that's just gay.
Rise himself never responded, even when I asked him, "Rise, what is love?"